So I just think it's an opportunity for us to connect and get refreshed on our vibes and be reminded of the value that we offer the world. So stay strong, stay healthy in your mind and in your body. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Good morning, everybody. It's Shannon. It is Wednesday, the 18th. Hope that you're well in every possible way. I'm continuing to learn how to do video in more productive ways. I was actually trying to use these earbuds from my son to enable clearer audio, and I can't figure it out. So I'm going with the old school iPhone earbud solution. Hopefully, this makes things a little bit better. Every day we get better. So today we're looking at the letter V in COVID for some guidance on what are some of the things that we might be feeling that we want to avoid or minimize. And then what are some of the positive words that begin with V that could give us some guidance and stability. So, one of the words that begins with V that we need to be thoughtful about avoiding is vanity, when we make things all about us. And we need to be more mindful of those who are actually suffering from this virus and who need support. And if you're one of those people, just know that you're in my thoughts every day. Vent. Venting is good because it's cathartic. It just needs a time limit. It needs boundaries, because sometimes we can just vent and vent, and what we aren't really thoughtful about is the effect that that is having on the person to whom we are venting. So we need to say to ourselves, look, I'm going to just unload right now. It's going to be ugly. Just let it go. I'm going to give myself a 15-minute time clock or whatever, and use the catharsis to your advantage and be mindful of the person to whom you're venting. Venom. That's typically what what our language sounds like when we're venting. Vice. Vices are things that allow us to escape. And it makes sense that we might be leveraging them more now than usual. Like I've been hosting a cocktail hour via Zoom every night with groups of people, and it's really fun. I just don't normally have a glass of wine every night, but and trust me, it feels good and I appreciate it. I just also am mindful that this could become a bad habit. So just everybody keep your eye on the ball and make sure that our vices aren't taking control. Volatile. It's a very volatile time right now, especially small businesses like mine and others who are like restaurants and other places that are really affected by being closed, retail outlets, and a whole host of things. So I think we have to be mindful that it's a very volatile time and we're going to get through it together, like we talked about yesterday. Vulnerable. Vulnerable means that we don't have control, that we're not perfect, that we don't have it all together. And right now we're reminded of our vulnerability and our imperfections. But what I want us to remember are the things that Brene Brown has been sharing with us over the years on the topic of vulnerability, and how it's the gateway to trust and love and connection, and that vulnerability is based in courage. So I'll include the link to her TED Talk in my notes below so that you can be reminded of her wisdom, or for some of you, this might be new to you. And then, of course, virus starts with V. So let's look at some of the positive words that we could anchor ourselves in this week or today that begin with the letter V in COVID. Valiant. Valiant is about bravery and strength. So let's be reminded of valor. Valid. Valid is something that is true and real. Your feelings are valid. Valuable. Valuable is about your worth, being reminded of your self-worth. Venturesome. Venturesome is an opportunity for us to be more adventurous, bold, daring. Um, Finding ways to figure things out requires venturesome thinking. Voracious. Voracious is about being truthful and honest. So we want to model that. Very. Very means real, actual, um, true, absolute. Viable. Viable is around capability. The capability of continuing to be effective and successful. in spite of what's going on. So viability in ourselves. Vigilant. Vigilant is being observant and attentive. Like yesterday, we talked about observing things. So we could practice our vigilance. Virtuous. Virtuous is around morality and character and purity. So let's not forget our values. Core values starts with V. Visionary, particularly those of us who are in positions where we're leading people in teams and organizations. If you've already established your vision, it would be a really good time to pull that back out and be reminded of where are we going. Nobody said it was going to be a direct route. I recently sat across the table from a pilot at a hotel I was at recently in the morning, and I was asking him about, just what are some of the parallels to being a pilot and leadership. And he said, I think there's a lot, including that when we take off the runway, he said, we never ever go from A to B, ever. He said the entire trip is various, another V word, various routes that we zig and we zag and we zig and we zag, not always in a turbulent sense, but more just in the sense of like, the headwinds and just the different things that are going on with the air traffic. So for us to be reminded that the vision is getting to point B doesn't mean we're going directly from A. We're going to zig and we're going to zag. And right now we're zagging. Vital. Vital means essential. Stay essential. Find ways to stay essential. Don't disappear and, hide unless that's what you need to do right now. But once you're back on your feet, try to find a way to be vital and essential. Vivacious. Vivacious is a word that means like lively and animated and active, and just finding ways to be vivacious. I'm going to share a tip with everybody coming up. There's a group of hilarious people who are putting together a series. I think it's a 6-episode series on quarantinis, and I'll make sure that you all have access to that link because they're so funny and vivacious. Vocal. Be vocal. Find ways to use your voice for good. And then last but not least is vibe. One of my favorite words of all, vibe. I wrote this book, V.I.B.E, a couple years ago, and for those of you who are familiar, it's a reminder. For some, this is a new thing. So our V word today, value, it stands for your core values. I are your interests, things that you may never get paid to do, but you just find them really interesting. B are beliefs, the beliefs that you have about yourself. And then E is energy. How can you manage your energy? So our word today is vibe. I'm going to put this down for a sec. And I wanted to share this gift. I have the great opportunity of working with Barb Cowan and the Women in Leadership group at Comcast Spotlight Effective at ad sales for Comcast. Amazing group of people. And one of the participants at graduation gave me this bag, which it says, let me see how to do this. Vibes speak louder than words, right? Vibes speak louder than words. So I'm going to host a free webinar for those who needs a refresher, or perhaps this is new to you, and it's going to be on Thursday, March 26th. It'll be 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, which is unfortunately 8 a.m. in LA, but 9 a.m. in Colorado, and it's 3 p.m. in London and 4 p.m. in Paris.